And the next session is something that is really close to my heart, and it's all about the future. It's about the future of this continent, and it's about the people who are going to build this future for us. We started our AviaDev Ambassador program in 2018, and the concept was very simple. Rather than give free access to a few students who sort of stand around with a badge going, oh, I don't really know who to talk to, I don't have a role, we thought we'd actually bring them into the team for the week. So they have a role, they're helping with the registration, they're helping you out if you've been a sponsor, taking your meetings, making sure everybody's happy, looked after, they're dressed like us, they act like us, they're part of us. And you've all been absolutely wonderful in welcoming this year's ambassadors. It's an idea that we came up with a few years ago, and this session is actually going to be hosted by Refilwe and our 3 ambassadors. They're all, of course, incredibly nervous, so they would love your support. But as I invite Refilwe and the ambassadors up, we have a short video to share with you about the success of the scheme so far.
Okay, good afternoon once again. It gives me a great pleasure in introducing the Future Leaders panelist. This is a panelist that is very close to my heart because it is directly related to the work that I do. So I'm very happy to be standing here. They're going to be tackling a topic and giving views about ways on how we can mitigate the effect of aviation on climate change. So I'm going to be calling them one by one. They will be giving their views. They'll introduce themselves, give their views, and take a seat, and later on they can take questions. So the first, I'm going to call Mahek.
Can you guys? Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Mahek Shah, and I'll be standing here because it's been a long 3 days. And if I stand there and get the support from that podium, I swear to you, I will start talking absolute rubbish. But yeah, first of all, thank you so much, John and Mala, for this opportunity. I'm actually proud to say that I'm the youngest person here officially. I'm only 18 years old, and the 14-year-old me would be very, very proud because I got into this industry, well, not professionally, but just as an initiative to spread awareness about the careers in the aviation industry, because I was born in London, but I'm Indian, but I was raised in Kenya. So I knew like nobody, no man or woman that was in the industry, and I wanted to be that person who can be that role model for someone small and someone young and aspiring in Kenya. But yeah, and so we'll be talking about how aviation can reduce the impacts of climate change, right? And so firstly, these are all very basic solutions, but I guess we just need to follow them in the first place. So the first one that I really liked and thought would be a very good idea is having carbon-efficient fuels, as many nations have pledged to become carbon-efficient by 2050. But we're getting there, slowly by slowly, no complaints. But yeah, and there's been some progress, but one of the sectors in the economy that is very hard to become carbon efficient is the aviation industry. We can't use battery to power our planes, right? Because our planes are gigantic, and the batteries just cannot provide enough power, especially during takeoff and landing, which is when a plane uses the most power. And yeah, so I guess just some things that people can think about are using solar power, solar panel, like the method of that, and just implementing that into airplanes. And I know the engineers sitting here are looking at me like I'm crazy, but it's just an idea. You know, you can't really get somewhere without thinking about something positive. And yeah, and another thing is that we just talk about human and technology combined. Because just like how pilots use autopilots when they fly, they're still there to monitor the autopilot, right? So we can't really rely on technology entirely. And I think that we just need to report, regulate, and monitor, especially how carbon and all the other gases that aviation emits into the atmosphere, that's very harmful. And I think if we just work hand in hand, it can become so much more possible. And just for a fact, aviation isn't the biggest industry where, you know, people, well, they think that aviation is the biggest industry where we emit the carbon dioxide and so on and so forth. Honey, just say that you're jealous of my industry. Like, it's not true, all right? But yeah, we can do this. And I'm from Mombasa, an island, so I'm coming from 30 degrees to 5 degrees. So yeah, I'm freezing. So let's just work on climate change, and we can make this world a better place. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mahek, for the wonderful input and the wonderful views. And I'm sure you know, everyone is taking notes as well here. And I would like to invite Ronnie as well, just to give your views. Is it? Oh, Thabiso, you're going to go first. Oh, you ladies, you're getting the ladies to go first. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So I'm using the podium because I need support. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to stand any longer than I've been this entire time. So yeah, my name is Thabiso. I'm from Johannesburg. I'm a drone pilot and drone maintenance technician. I'm an aspiring pilot, and after years of bumping into walls, trying to find my way into the industry, I can proudly say I finally found my feet and a sense of direction with GFPA. So before I present my solution idea, I'd first like us to think about why it's important for us to gather here and have this conversation. The effects of climate change affect everyone. So it's important for us to gather and explore our options and see how we can reduce the effects of aviation on climate change. I was volunteering for a GFPA camp, and the learners were asked to come up with climate change challenges within their communities, and they struggled. Not because they're not aware, not because they're not affected by climate change, but because they're not aware that we're all affected by climate change. The world is a single body, and just like when you stumble your feet, your whole body is aware of what's going on. Even if other regions are experiencing more dire effects than others, we're still equally affected. So as a solution, I think it's important that we incorporate education about climate change in the already existing educational outreaches in aviation. In this room, we have a good number of initiatives, founders of such initiatives, and I think we can all consider educating young people about climate change. This way, we spark interest about discovering careers in aviation that they can pursue, which can help us in reducing the effects of climate change. I am a testimony that education really opens your eyes to what is needed, the solutions that are needed in the world. On my induction with GFPA, we were asked to present why we want to venture into careers in aviation. Of course, I want to fly, but I also want to be a part of the conversations that are intended to take aviation to greater heights. And my presentation was centered around wanting to be involved in such conversations, and here I am today. So can you imagine the amount of change we can bring about if we educated and opened the eyes of young people to the careers that they can pursue in being a part of the developments that are already being made? Nako spoke about their ideas on electric aircraft. when we introduce education about climate change, we can spark interest in young people and how they can also be a part of those developments. I believe that through education, we can expose young people to the possibility of being a part of these developments, plant interest, and spark passion. By sharing all the developments that are already taking place, we inspire them and show them that it's possible to help and bring this change about, and that it's not something that is many years from now, but that they can help make a difference now. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Thabiso. Education is indeed very critical in spreading information about climate change. I'm going to now call Ronnie.
Good afternoon, everyone. My journey in aviation draws way back 4 years ago. I won't speak so much about it because I don't think I have the time right now. I'm from Uganda. I'm sure you've all heard about a country, in East Africa, one of the smallest ones. I'm a holder of a bachelor's degree in quantitative economics, flight operations from Nairobi, Kenya. Private pilot, again, license from Nairobi, and I focused more on finishing it in South Africa, though it's still pending. Hopefully in the next 6 months, I will start off my master's in aviation management. So, climate change. The truth is, we can't do away with the negative impact the industry has on climate change. The best we can do as aviators is mitigate it. If we look at the negative contribution this industry has on climate change, it's compared to a drop you would have in the ocean. It won't change the level, but that doesn't mean, we should keep quiet and not focus on the wrong things the aircrafts do in the air to the environment. About 15,000 airports service nearly 10,000 airports and operate over routes approximately 15 million kilometers, which is more than 2.2 billion passengers, flying around the world for vacations, business, travel, and well in excess of a third value, which is the world's manufactured products being exported. Air travel is the world's fastest growing source of greenhouse gas emissions like carbon dioxide, which cause climate change. Globally, the world's commercial jets aircraft fleet generates more than 700 million tons of carbon dioxide. Aviation plays a vital role in the society as demonstrated. It generates jobs, supports the commercial and private travel. However, one of the negative impacts of this travel is the environmental impact it has. The main environmental concerns associated with aircrafts are climate change, the stratospheric ozone reduction, leading to the increased surface ultraviolet radiation, leading to the regional pollution and local pollution as well. While much of the carbon dioxide is absorbed on Earth, in plants and ocean surfaces, a huge amount goes into the atmosphere. So the question is, how best can we do this as aviators? We have so many alternative solutions, but I will focus more on what I think the industry can do to mitigate this. And my solution is long-term. We can't wake up today and say we are wiping this out tomorrow. I would be lying to you if I said that. To address the problem of climate change, like all other industries, airlines will have to rethink the different business models they use. They'll have to probably agree to be part of a network that moves people and goods from one place to another in an efficient and timely manner. To achieve this goal, they'll have to collaborate and network with other transport operators like the railways. A case in example here is in Netherlands, airlines and railway companies have a history of cooperation. Long before this merger, KLM had already cancelled several short-haul flights on routes where fast trains links existed. Many of KLM's international flights to Dutch cities also finish with the final leg by train. That's according to Balch in 2009. I'm sure there's so many aircraft manufacturing companies we have here today. There's Airbus, there's Boeing, there's Rolls-Royce, Embraer, and maybe some that I don't know of. Creating the most efficient engines, I think, would be the best these companies would come up with, which would end up reducing, the small emissions we're talking about to the environment. So the different representatives for Airbus, Boeing, Rolls-Royce, and other companies, I think this would be a best starting point to mitigate the negative impact we have on the environment. As I conclude, the aviation industry transports 2.2 billion passengers annually while providing trade and tourism for developing and developed countries, although airlines have improved their fuel efficiency and the emissions over the past 10 years. So, holding the current ambassador position right now, I don't want our presence, in this conference to stop at giving speeches, because I believe most of you know about these things, but there's something different. The two beautiful ladies and I have to do to just make this more visible. So what we have decided to do is, on Wednesday we visited, we went for the camp, I think headed by Refilwe. We met very young girls. These are girls who look up to you and think they'll one day be where you are. So Thabiso is from South Africa, Mahek is from Kenya, and I come from Uganda. We're coming up with an initiative where we'll plant 5,000 trees in the 3 different countries we come from in the space of 365 days before our positions are given to other people. So before the year ends, sometime this year or next year, Thabiso and Mahek will have to come to Uganda, where we shall visit different flight academies and high schools. We'll be killing 2 birds, with 1 stone. You meet these young guys and they're asking, what do you do? We're planting trees to do what? That's when the aviation will chip in. So on behalf of the 2 ladies, special thanks to John and Mala and all the stakeholders involved in this conference. We'll be willing to work with you guys, because at the end of the day, we still need your help in achieving the activities we're coming up with. Thank you so much.